Hello, everybody. I have the privilege of having Mr. John Sawyer here from the Oakville Chamber of Commerce for I'm in a Car. I think this is episode number 45. So thanks for doing this, John.
Wow, 45.
Yeah, we're on route for 100 in 2017. That's the goal. So yeah, thanks for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. This is awesome.
Now,
nothing better than a road trip. The Chamber is actually famous for its road trips.
Chamber road trips.
Yeah, but you cannot have a road trip without a Tim Hortons coffee, so that's where you need to go.
All right, to Tim Hortons.
My treat.
All right, this is perfect. What's a road trip without a cup of Timmy's? Right?
Exactly.
Now they must be pretty big supporters of Chamber.
Oh yeah, huge. We have a great relationship with them, and they give us great support, and we of course give them all the support we can as well.
Every cup of coffee counts.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So you a dark roast or regular?
Yes, I like. I'll do either.
Okay.
I do like it. I'm too cheap to pay for a latte, so I just get them to put lots of milk in it
Cool.
and pretend.
All right, perfect. Well, we'll be there in a couple minutes. So I'm not sure if you've seen like the segment, but essentially we start off with a little like introduction just to get the audience a little kind of summary of where John's been and what you're up to these days. So over the years, I mean, we were just in your office and you had an opportunity to show me this unbelievable wall of like you with like just unbelievable leaders in the world over what seemed to be, you know, multiple decades. There was a picture that looked like this handsome guy. I'm not sure who that was.
Yeah, young. So I actually had somebody once, he was talking to a friend and I overheard him say, do you think those pictures of John with those people are real? And the friend said, oh, I can absolutely confirm those pictures are real. And his friend said, how could you confirm those pictures are real? And the guy said, if John had faked those pictures, he would have made himself look good. So,
yeah, if he's going to do
yes,
it.
They're real.
Oh, that's cool. So how did you, like, what was the journey like getting involved with the Oakville Chamber? What have you been up to over the years?
You know what? It was like my whole life led to it.
I guess we should just stop. I didn't realize we were going to get in so quick. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
What are you ordering?
I need a large with 3 milk and half a sugar, please.
A large coffee with 3 milks, half a sugar.
Okay.
And then another large coffee with 2 milk, please.
Okay.
That is all.
All right. That's $3.95, Tyler.
Great, thanks.
My whole allowance. But you're worth it.
I appreciate it, John. It means a lot. There's nothing more Canadian than paying for a couple of coffees with 2 toonies.
Through the drive-thru.
Through the drive-thru.
2 lights.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Every nickel counts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you do.
There you go.
And there you go.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, cheers.
Thanks.
Service
What
with
were
a
we talking
smile.
about?
Where you came from.
Oh, yeah.
Introduction into Oakville Chamber. How you got here.
Okay, so I worked in the media business, which is a really good entree into the chamber business. And a number of things I've had to do through my life involve things that are fundamental to the chamber. I dealt with a lot of government relations work over the years, which is a key pillar for the chamber.
Right.
Had to make presentations, so public speaking was important. So just all those skills kind of brought me here.
And what media were you in?
So I worked for the Pattison Group for 15 years. Before that, I worked for a company called MediaCom. I was also the vice president general manager of a company called the News Group.
Okay, cool. So then what got you into the foray with the chamber?
Well, a friend called one day and said, what are you doing? My wife is heading the search committee looking for a new CEO at the chamber. And he said, you'd be perfect for the role. And I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought that would really be fun to do. So I went through the interview process, made a really good presentation to the committee that was doing the search. And then I went home, and based on what they told me in the interview, I think I interviewed them a little harder than they interviewed me. But I took what they gave me and I did a business plan. And I sort of said, look, this is very simplistic. It's based on what you told me, but here is how I would approach the role. And then, so the interview was on a Thursday night, and I think that Saturday I delivered a copy to each of their homes, put it in their mailbox. And I said,
yes, this is like pre-internet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it was, I said, this is more to show you how I think than to give you a real business plan.
Right.
So anyway, they called me Monday and said, wow, we'd like to talk to you.
Cool.
So that was good.
And what was that, the Oakville Chamber?
Yeah, at the Oakville Chamber. So my background with chambers actually started many years ago. I worked for a gentleman. Now, you're not old enough to remember Leave It to Beaver.
I do remember Leave It to Beaver.
So Mr. Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver with the cardigan and the pipe. I worked for a guy who was a clone of Mr. Cleaver. And I was young, and so he was very much a mentor. And he said, and I had to move to new communities as part of my job. And he said, John, when you move to a new community, the first thing you do is join the Chamber of Commerce and join the Rotary Club. And within a year, you're going to know everybody that you need to know. So that's what I did. So I had a background as a volunteer with chambers, and that really helped.
Yeah. I got to echo that intrigue. We've taken the same approach into every community we operate in. We go into the chamber. That's like the first thing we do. And we're huge advocates. Being a part of the Chamber of Commerce has really changed our business. So that's just a plug for everything you guys do. And
thanks for that. Now I have a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
Do you find it interesting, the different culture at every chamber? Because every chamber, we do basically the same things.
They're all different.
But they're all very, very different, I find.
And it's the beauty of the chambers are really just like a really cool microcosm of a community. And so when we started in Guelph, and then our first community that we went into from Guelph was Kitchener-Waterloo, and we thought, hey, this is going to be, same approach, same type of people, and we found within a week, we were like, okay, we're at a different place.
Two very different, it's interesting you picked those two chambers. They're
very different places.
They are both great chambers, and I know the leaders there very, very well, but a whole different approach to what they do.
And Milton, Oakville. Totally, and different communities with different issues, and it's just, it's really neat. So anyway, Chambers of Commerce, if you're in business, you own a company, get involved. And don't wait for them to do something for you. Get involved. Life is getting involved. So anyway, sorry, I'm done. That was a little...
No, that's great.
Sorry.
I always appreciate that. So you raise a really good point. I had a little bit of an epiphany, and it was something that we do intuitively, but a member actually pointed it out, and somebody asked the member, why are you so engaged with the Oakville Chamber? And his comment was, because they do things for us before they ask anything of us. So we reach out if there's an issue we know is going to affect the company. We reach out to them and say, hey, here's a heads up on this, or if we know there's some way we can help, we just do it. And then people respect that. And then so when we do come and say, we need your help, they're much more willing to support us.
Yeah, that's a beautiful approach too. And I think a lot of people in business forget that idea around providing a value-based relationship that builds reciprocity and respect. So anyway, that's really cool that you guys do that. So you got involved with the chamber many moons ago.
Yeah, 12 years now.
And so what are you guys up to these days?
Well,
Fast forward 2017.
So, right now is a really busy time for us. We're getting ready for our chair's dinner, which is kind of the highlight of our year. We introduced the new chair of the board and thanked the outgoing chair, introduced the new board to the community. Yeah. It's always a really nice event. And this year we're going to have David Dodge, who's a past governor of the Bank of Canada. And he can be a little bit outspoken, which we like. And with things that are going on in terms of trade with the U.S. and NAFTA, he's going to, and the economy, he's going to have a really interesting perspective to present. So I'm looking forward to hosting him.
Cool.
We have another historical.
Can people buy tickets to this event?
Oh yeah. Everybody's
selfish plug.
Welcome.
Go away. No. So Oakville Chamber, website?
It's on September 20th. Go to the website and it's all there. Yeah, we get 300-400 people come out. It's a really
I've heard it's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. working on Small Business Week. We do a celebration of Small Business Week, and we do that in partnership with the Business Development Bank. So we do like a small business trade show, or it's a trade show geared to small business. We have actually a lot of large businesses participate because their market are smaller businesses.
Right.
So we do the trade show. I have to say the food is truly amazing. The conference center uses it as a marketing opportunity.
Right.
So they go all out, and people rave about the food. And Roberto said to me, our problem is if we don't top what we did last year, people are disappointed. So every year they try and outdo themselves. So they do a great job. We're having a gentleman named Jim Gray do a lunch and learn as part of Small Business Week. That's always a great thing. And Jim I think he ranked the highest. We have people do a survey after our events, and I think he was the highest ranked speaker we've had for a lunch and learn. So we thought, why not bring him back for Small Business Week? So he speaks on marketing and leadership, and how to speak like a leader. So that'll be good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I can use that as a great segue into the next kind of topic then.
Okay.
So one of the biggest things we usually talk to on this show, I'm in a car, is around leadership, entrepreneurship, growing a business, balancing life, that kind of stuff. And coming back to that wall and having that exposure for yourself with all these amazing leaders from Ronald Reagan to Margaret Thatcher to, the George Bush Sr. and Justin Trudeau and all, all these amazing leaders. And then even inside, so you have, it's interesting because in your position, it's almost like you're a leader of a lot of different stakeholders because you've got your staff.
Yep.
Then you've got your membership. And you're working with a lot of different community partners. So when it comes to leadership, what are some of the things you keep in mind when, trying to get a group to move in a direction?
Sure. So Oakville really is a community of leaders. It's a special community. So you're always surrounded by leaders. It keeps you on your toes. So my job as the leader, this is just like my personal philosophy that served us well in terms of leadership. So my job is to build the team. That's my whole focus is, get the right people in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. So that's what I do. And the challenge at the chamber is we are a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
So every nickel counts. I mean, we steal pens from the hotels to keep our stationery budget low. So don't tell the hotels that.
Yeah.
So
they probably account for it somehow.
So we try and look affluent, but we're just like every other not-for-profit.
Yeah.
So we can't compete with other employers in terms of paying people what they're worth. I'm almost embarrassed what we pay our staff. But we do have a really good bonusing program. So if we have a good year, the staff share in that. I've always believed that we should do that. And if we don't have a good year, the staff are taking a bit of a risk because they're not going to get their bonuses, and they all know that.
Right.
So what we've had to do is create an environment that will make us an employer of choice. So what we do is we give people an opportunity they can't get anywhere else in terms of the people that they will meet, the things that they will get to do with us.
The network they can build.
Exactly. So I tell them, give us 2 or 3 really good years, show us what you can do, and we will help you get to where you want to go.
Cool.
And that's what we do, and it works. It works for us. We have really bright people who love what they do. It's unique. And we reward them for their performance when we can.
So what I got out of that is, from your perspective as a leader, with that focus of getting the right people in the right place, doing the right things at the right time, having to get creative.
Oh yeah.
With how to do that within any given situation.
Exactly.
And I think because as you started talking about it, I find myself even in a bit of a tension right now, and I know a lot of other business owners that experience similar challenges where they're really busy doing the thing they need to be doing from when they started, and it could be sales, it could be getting things made, it could be a number of different things.
Yeah, running the business.
Running the business and really running in the business.
Yeah.
And then to then pull away and just start to actually focus as a primary focus on that idea of getting the right people in the right place at the right time, doing the right things.
Yeah.
And then that transition is like, there's this big question mark of like, okay, when does it happen? How does it happen? How can I afford to do it? Where do I find the time to do it? And then when am I done? Like when am I able to really pull myself from being in the business?
It's never done,
right.
First of all. But it is a catch-22. Until you do that and get the right people, you've got to do it. And if you're busy doing it, you don't have time to get the right people and mentor them and nurture them. So you just have to focus on it and do it. The first year at the chamber, I literally worked 6-7 days a week, like every week. It was just a given for the first year that was going to happen. I knew that going in, and then gradually I could back off as we got the right people in place. So another bit of philosophy in terms of hiring. What I look for are people that are smart, that have a really good work ethic, and want an opportunity.
Right.
If we have those three things in the person, they'll do anything, or they'll be able to achieve anything.
Right.
And so that's what we look for, because we can teach them all the other stuff.
Right.
But you can't teach work ethic. You can't teach passion. You can't teach people about opportunities. So that they've got to have that desire already. So the trick is to find smart people who want to work and are looking for an opportunity. And those people will get you to where you want to go.
That's cool. So another thing then, from a leadership perspective, from the people that I know that know you, there's this underlying, well, I don't even know if it's underlying, it's pretty blatantly obvious that when it comes to getting something done and getting someone to make a decision the way you want them to make it, people believe that you're really good at making that happen. But you also walk around your day with this wonderful sense of humor and kind of lightheartedness to the way you approach your days. How do you balance those two things?
Well, it's all about perspective, I guess. You don't... I don't know how I do that. I just do it.
It's like Wayne Gretzky trying to coach.
yeah, I don't know. I just do it.
Yeah. So then here's a question, then I'll rephrase it. What keeps you so lighthearted?
Okay, so here's what you need to know. There are many facets to everybody, but if we're talking about me for a minute,
yeah,
there are many facets to me, and really I'm thinking, what is it I want to get done, and what's the most effective way to achieve it? So sometimes, rarely, but sometimes I have to be a real hard ass.
Right.
Usually, though, people respond to the warm, fuzzy sense of humor, John. That's how we get things done. So it depends who you talk to and what the circumstances were in terms of which John you're going to get.
Well, and I guess I would almost think that the hard ass would probably be a bit more effective when it's surrounded by lightheartedness all the time. The contrast becomes powerful.
And it's a challenge for the staff. I got to say, I feel sorry for them sometimes because they don't know what John they're going to get today.
Right.
But it depends what we're trying to get done. That's the lesson I learned from Jimmy Pattison. I could go all day with Jimmy's stories, but the one I got to tell you is he adored my wife, Marianne. And whenever we were at an event and Jimmy was there, he would just head straight over to Marianne.
Yeah.
And he knew how close Marianne and I were and how important she is to me. And he would just grab her hand and look her in the eye and say, Marianne, I just want to let you know how much it personally means to me, all the support you give John, because I know he couldn't do what he does for us without your support. Of course, Marianne would just melt and we'd be driving home from the event and she'd be going, you just got to work harder. Right? So he knew.
He's brilliant.
He knew. And on the other hand, I've been in the room and I've seen him just eviscerate people.
Right, yeah.
Just eviscerate them.
Yeah.
And So you kind of have to be what you need to be in the circumstance.
Yeah, it's interesting. Daniel Pink wrote a book, To Sell Is Human.
Yeah.
One of the chapters is called Chameleons Eat More Pie.
Ah.
And it's all around that idea.
Well, yeah, and I think, another Jimmy lesson is you got to be selling, and I've heard him 1,000 times. He would say, you better be selling, or you better be working for somebody who's selling, or you don't have a job.
Right.
Because nothing happens unless there's a sale.
Right, and that's the truth. Decisions made, things get moving.
You would know that, wouldn't you?
Big time, yeah. No, lifeblood. Sales is the lifeblood of an organization. All right, so then...
How's your coffee, by the way?
My coffee's fantastic.
Good.
And the service with the smile.
Yeah, she was good, wasn't she?
She was great. But yeah, so every once in a while, you take a sip, I'll just leave it by my mouth here so I can keep it up. Okay, but going into an advocacy kind of conversation.
Advocacy.
And this is kind of one of the things in all the chambers we're part of. I think Intrigue's part of 11 chambers of commerce. And it's kind of the one thing that when we're out networking and asking people why they like being part of the Chamber of Commerce, it's not always front and center that people understand the role of the chamber with government and business and what advocacy is all about.
That is a great insight on your part, because that is like the absolute truth. Most people, when they think of chambers, they think of the networking and how we connect people, which is very important, and we do a lot of that. And it's not until people get engaged with the chamber they come to understand this advocacy thing that we do.
Which is remarkably powerful.
It's so important. Someone needs to speak on behalf of the business community, and there are so many initiatives have come from the chambers. And I hate to think what government regulation and taxes would be if we hadn't been there speaking up for the business community. So although it's not our highest profile thing, it is by far the most important thing that we do.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so in that light, to give some context to people around the types of issues chambers deal with, there's a lot of confusion right now with this whole minimum wage hike coming January 1 or January 2018.
Yes.
So can you give us some context and clarity around what this whole thing's about?
Clarity, I don't know, but happy to give you some context. And I have to say, the worst thing you can do to business is create uncertainty. When businesses are uncertain, everything stops. Right. They don't invest, they don't hire, they don't do anything until they figure it out and what it means. And once they're comfortable, then the investment will start, the hiring will start, the economic activity.
Well, and your strategies can be figured out because you know the horizon and the landscape you're in.
Okay, so specifically to Bill 148, so the government announced, sort of caught everybody by surprise, we're moving the minimum wage, we're increasing it by 30% over a very short window of time, 15 months. And I need to be perfectly clear. We want everyone to do well. We want a healthy economy where everyone does well. The government and me personally are on exactly the same page in that regard. We want everyone to do well. What the issue is for our members, what we're hearing is, it's the way that the government is intending to implement this fundamental change to our economy. It's too much and it's too fast. Other communities that are trying this experiment of moving to a $15 minimum wage have chosen a window of 4 or 5 years.
Right.
We will be required to do it in 15 months, and that's just too much, too fast. I think we need to look at those other communities, see how it's going, and look at how they're implementing it. So the issue is not around the $15 minimum wage. The issue is around the implementation of it.
Right.
That's what's creating the uncertainty among business.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I talked to a lot of business owners and asked them, when's the last time you increased your prices? And some of them haven't increased them for 5-6 years. They haven't even taken into account inflation. And cost of doing business is going up and up every year, regardless of what we do with our pricing. And then this thing just seems like, and I've mentioned it to a couple people that, hey, minimum wage is going up to 15 in January 18. They're like, oh, F.
Yeah. So, first of all, you've been saying businesses, and I'm sensitive to this because I was dumbfounded when I heard this. We're talking about employers, and
Sure.
all employers
Organizations.
are not businesses.
That's totally fair.
I've had 2 charities come to me and say, "Oh my God, we can't put our prices up. We're a charity. We live on donations. We can't just arbitrarily say, okay, donations are going up 30% this year."
Oh my God.
Like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So one of them pays minimum wage, but it's a really interesting employer, and it's the kind of place people would fight to work at. So the people accept the minimum wage just to have the opportunity to work there.
Right.
But what's happening is they pay minimum wage, but they have a very good benefits plan. So their strategy to deal with what the government's planning is they will simply eliminate the benefits plan. So that's going to put the care needs of those people in terms of their benefits. Well, the government will have to cover it because they won't have a benefits plan anymore. So those are the kind of unintended consequences that we're concerned about. Everybody thinks about minimum wage, employers, no issue, just raise your prices. Well, if you're a charity and you're paying minimum wage, you can't raise your prices.
Right.
But they're going to be captured in this transition. So
there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, it's complicated. But, I mean, we want to respectfully work with the government and see if we can minimize those unintended consequences.
So if somebody wants to learn more about the impacts of this whole bill, what's it?
148?
148. Where does somebody go? How does somebody learn about it?
Go to our website. There is the Keep Ontario Working Coalition, which we are part of. And we've commissioned the only independent study to look at the consequences of this change.
Yeah.
So the results of the study are all posted there. And our concern is the fallout from this is actually going to be going to result in harm to the very groups that the government's trying to help. In that, if a company, really their only chance to deal with this is you either raise your prices, which may lose market share, but if you can, you're going to raise your prices to cover the cost. Or if you can't do that, you're going to have to lay off people or limit hours. So you'll actually reduce
earning potential.
Yeah, for people. And this is particularly, if that happens, that will particularly hit women hard.
Is there any opportunity that this thing's going to get slowed down?
Well, that's what we're asking for. The government has repeatedly and clearly says, no, we're moving to minimum wage. We're hoping that we can work with them and get it slowed down.
Cool.
So we're meeting with Kevin Flynn, who is our MPP, and also the Labour Minister at the end of the month, and he's going to bring along the Minister responsible for small business so we can have a private conversation about it. We'll bring in some members and they can sort of tell their story.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Kevin has always worked hard to have a good relationship with us. And I know he listens to us. So we'll see what comes out of that meeting at the end of the month.
Cool, man.
Okay.
So one last piece before I get you out of here.
Sure.
If there was something you could go back and tell John Sawyer, 20 years ago that you wish you had knew then that you know now, what would it be?
I think it would be to be less afraid. Like, I remember as a young man, I was always concerned about upsetting people or doing the wrong thing or embarrassing myself. And now, I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't care as much. Right? Like,
and so what does it do for you?
So, well...
Because I know a lot of people get caught up in their own mind.
Yeah.
Around what people are going to think about them.
Yeah, exactly.
And how they might mess up.
So what I've learned is, it doesn't matter what I do, I am going to piss somebody off. I swear to God, we could give out gold bars at one of our dinners, and someone will come to me.
The silver manufacturer.
So,
like, why didn't you give out silver?
Why didn't you give out silver? Or somebody say, "Oh, this is so heavy," right? Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Somebody will be upset. So you have to be conscious of it. You have to respect it, but you have to move on. Too.
Yeah, okay.
There was a time in my life when I'd have been just tied up in knots about that. Well,
Right.
Get on with it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for
Oh,
doing this,
thank
John.
you. Thank you so much.
See you guys. John Sawyer. Bye.